Hey, I'm excited to see you back for our Wednesday night midweek church-wide Bible study and worship. Thank you for getting your family together, whether you're here on campus or if you're at home online. We're thankful that you joined us this evening. If you have your copy of God's Word, turn with me to Genesis chapter 37. We're going to be looking at verses 12 through 20. When you wake up each day to life, not every person that you come in contact with is deeply concerned about your well-being. Some people see you as an obstacle that they must overcome. Some see you as competition that they must beat or defeat. And yet some see you as a great canvas for which they can better help guide your life to be one worth living. The trick for you and for myself is to look around and determine who has our best interest in mind. Is it our parents? Usually. Is it our teachers? Again, usually. Coaches? Usually. Friends? Iffy. Person across the street? Maybe, but iffy. Person at the store? Who knows? Could be. Or maybe you're just another dollar for them to make. Friends on social media? Maybe, but then again, you may be just another follower that at some point they're going to try to merchandise or sell something, t-shirt, wristband, water bottles, etc. to you. Tonight, I want us to learn to look around at the landscape of life from Joseph's story and see if we can't learn the people that we come in contact with every day and see whether or not these people are in our corner or if they are not. Genesis 37, 12 through 20, it says this: Now his brothers went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, Are not your brothers pasturing the flock at Shechem? Come, I will send you to them. And he said to him, Here am I. So he said to him, Go now, see if it is well with your brothers and with the flock, and bring me word. So he sent him from the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a man found him wandering in the fields. And the man asked him, What are you seeking? I am seeking my brothers, he said. Please tell me where they are pasturing the flock. And the man said, They have gone away, for I heard them say, Let's go to Dothan. And so Joseph went after his brothers, and he found them at Dothan. Now they saw him from afar, and before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. And they said to one another, Here comes this dreamer. Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these pits. Father, help us tonight to be able to learn the landscape of life, to be able to look around and determine who is for us and who is against us. Lord, also to help us to know who we can partner with. There are people that are with you, and we want to be with them to get the glory out of us reading and studying your text and responding tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. The landscape of life is something that you'll never master. Now, you'll get better and you'll get good at it as time goes on, but you can begin to size up peoples and situations before they arise because basically humans act the way they have historically on earth. We tend to act selfish, self-centered, hostile towards others, and we tend for using people. That's common activity among non-Christians. So though you'll never master 100% being able to summarize or to determine what someone is ahead of having a history with them, but there are some things that you can head off at the past because you may have observed their activity and actions in other arenas. For instance, if you're in school and you see from the last year or the beginning of the new year someone acting a certain way, you can say, well, based on those actions, I can see that most likely they're going to go this direction. Or the people that you encounter when you go into public stores and you see the way they act, they got a good attitude. Maybe that's someone who could be an encourager to me. If they have a scowl constantly and a pessimistic take on things, then maybe that's not the person you're wanting to lean into for encouragement. This one time I was in Miami at a large indoor shopping mall. I believe it's called the Dadeland Mall. And I'm walking with my family and my wife's grandmother, and there was this young lady in the middle section where they have these little booths. And I remember it was the most pleasant beginning to a conversation that I had been a part of in a while, at least that day. And this lady, she comes up to myself and my wife, and she almost, I feel like she did touch her hair, and a hand on the shoulder said, wow, that you have such beautiful hair. What do you do to it? What products do you use? How do you get your hair so beautiful? And naturally, when someone says something nice about my wife, a woman at least, I'm like, it's sweet of her to say that. And she enters into this small talk with us. Now, fast forward 50 minutes. 50 minutes while I'm on vacation. Nonetheless, I've spent 50 minutes talking to this lady as she has tried to sell us. It was either a flat iron or a curling wand. It was some kind of hair fixing tool. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking back with hindsight, this person did it just right. They greased the gears and they said just what they needed to say to get us to have a conversation, to talk to them about this product. They wanted to sell me something. It wasn't that their best interest was that my wife's hair looks good. It was that they needed to sell a product. A few years before that incident, we ended up buying one of those very same wands at a mall in Douglasville. So I kind of knew how it was working, and yet, though I'd had that experience, the experience happens again, I fall for it again because I wasn't on guard. I wasn't looking at the landscape of life to see exactly what was my surroundings, and I kind of fell for that trap. Another time, I had someone invite me over to their house for dinner. Now, this was a very sinister move. I must say, with hindsight, very sinister move. A family invited me over for dinner, me, my wife, and my oldest daughter at the time. And as we begin to eat food, I start taking soft questions from this person, which I thought were a little leading, and they led until eventually this person is just asking questions that they really have no business asking me about topics that they don't need to know anything about, and they pull information out of me. This was a while ago, but when I was younger, they're pulling this information out of me that they shouldn't. It just feels like they're siphoning it out of my soul. And I'm getting so frustrated because I feel myself being taken advantage of and joining in a sinful pattern, and yet I just couldn't seem to get out of it. I felt betrayed and dirty and equally guilty. Their job was to get this info out of me to use it against me and other people that we knew. They courted my family to dinner with the intention of manipulating me for information, and for the most part, for that one time, it worked. So the landscape of life, again, sometimes people are perceived to be a benefit or to be a blessing, and then in time we find out differently. In Joseph's life, right before his being betrayed by his brothers, we can look at several characters in his life, including the brothers, and just see what that landscape looked like for him, and honestly, today, to see how it looks for us. Joseph's daddy, Jacob, Israel, same guy. We know him to be a trickster already. He did some tricks in his early years to take the blessing from his brother. We know that he is a tricky guy. And so some of this personality has not completely been matured out of him. And we see him babying Joseph, and that causes him to be spoiled, and it causes him to be hated by his brothers, and that comes to a headstone before his 18th birthday. So in this story, in the landscape of Joseph's life, his daddy, though he loves him, has set him up for some failure. Then we see a man in a field. Some guy sees Joseph wandering around in the field and asks him, hey, what can I do to help you? And he offers the information about the whereabouts of the brothers, and he puts him on his way. That was a nice guy. He just genuinely was there to help him. Now, the brothers generally, the group generally, as Joseph begins to come to them, he finally sees them in the field in Dothan, and he gets there, and before he reaches them, in their hearts and then verbally between one another, they have discussed that they are going to kill him. So inside of his landscape of life, he's got brothers that want to do him in. And so when he actually gets there, they rip his clothes off to either almost naked or naked, and they throw him into a pit. And after they've completed that action, they sit outside of the pit and they have a lunch. They pop open a sandwich and a Coca-Cola and they have lunch while their brother is in the pit. Those are the people that's within the landscape of his life, and maybe not to this degree of sinister activity, but certain people are in our lives as well. Now, I said that about the brothers generally. Let's look at two of the brothers specifically. Reuben, he actually intended to thwart the mob of the brothers' plans by offering to put him in this pit, but knowing later he would come back and rescue him. That could be indicative of there's people out there that you may not realize that have your best interest in mind, or maybe they start out not having your best interest in mind, but then they come around. That happens in many of our lives. I mean, I've been this friend to other people where I didn't necessarily want something for them, and yet I came around to say, okay, let me join in, let me help in this endeavor. And then there was Judah, who talked to the others, minus Reuben. Reuben wasn't present during this time, but he discussed, let's sell him to a passing by group. He's flesh of our flesh, blood of our blood. Let's not kill him, but let's sell him to the next group of people that comes by. And a group of people are coming by, and he sells his brother for 20 pieces of silver, approximately $400, or a little over half a week's worth of wages. And he's gone. Bye-bye to their brother. Now, I can't imagine in my family cutting someone out that quickly. It seems so foreign, and yet it happened in this story. Now, in the landscape of life, you will at times have more people in your corner than at others. Joseph had a minority in this circumstance, and even the people that were for him were not necessarily helping him out of the purest motives, or had set in their hearts to help him in the best case of scenarios. His dad, mom, Reuben, they wanted Joseph to be able to return to normal life, but that is a small fraction of the overall equation of the landscape of his life. Judah wants him to live, but by the means of being sold into slavery, theoretically, never to see him again. And then the guy in the field, he has no stake in the matter, and he tried to help the very best that he could. Even though it was 9 brothers directly against him, God was for Joseph. God had a plan so intricate, so beautifully to be rolled out, and yet despair was on the hearts of some of the family, and no doubt Joseph, that very day. It won't be long, and Joseph will be second in command in the most powerful city in that region, second only to the Pharaoh of Egypt. And along the way from the pit of sin to the palace of heaven, we have to travel the landscapes of life. This is the playing field. This is the battleground. The landscape of life, it's where it all happens. And you're in a battle every single day for your soul. That's why it is important to trust Jesus as your Lord and Savior. He saves you, holds you, keeps you, is working on you, and promises to perfect you. But if you have never trusted Jesus, you're working in this world, you're playing on this field where all these different powers and all these different groups want to distract you so that you can stay in the pit of despair, and then eventually at your death, timely or untimely, stay in a permanent pit, which is called hell. In my experience in this world, the people that want to help you get out of the pit and be on your way to the palace the most in this world are either your family or your church family. Those are the people that want it the most. And there are other groups of people that certainly have a stake in that happening for you too. I know great godly teachers and coaches and just other godly parents that mentor and help, people that drive vans. They want that for you. They want you to come up out of the pit of despair, trusting Jesus, and be on your way to the palace of peace with our Creator. That's what we want. But there has to be a buy-in from you. You have to say, all right, of all the people in the landscape of my life, who do I want investing in me? Do I want this friend over here investing in me, this friend that doesn't seem to have it all together, that half the time I'm trying to help them out of a situation? Do I want it to be this person over here who doesn't have all of their ducks in a row, who's not got it figured out? Do I want it to be this person over here that I question how they treat other people, yet they seem to treat me okay. I'm not saying to you tonight that the landscape of life is simple. I'm telling you that it's something that we must study. For Joseph, he did not realize that that day, as he honored his father, did what he said he was supposed to do, getting out there, was going to be stripped down naked, thrown into a pit, have his future discussed, like the immediate future, the rest of his life discussed right there before him, but then be brought out, sold into slavery, never to theoretically see his family again. He didn't realize that was going to happen in a moment. But from that moment on, I believe that Joseph began to study the landscape of life. And even though he would come into harder circumstances in the future, he would know how to handle them because he had gained experience. Sometimes in life it takes being burned by some people before you're ready to start learning the lessons. Certainly it's happened in my life, probably yours too. But we need to be a student of our landscape. Lean into those people that love you and want what's best for you. If that's your family, I know it's for sure your church. We're here for you, and we want to help you, as Joseph, be used by God. There's no doubt in time, very soon, that Joseph is going to be used by God, and yet the way he gets to that place is by being carried as a slave. And we don't know, we're not guaranteed how you're going to get to the palace. This landscape of life shifts and changes, but we know the one who said he's going to take you there and keep you there, and his word is faithful and true and sure. So look over the landscape of your life this evening. See if there's some people that you've been listening to that maybe you should not be listening to anymore, and look around and look who's wise and doing it right according to God's word, and look to them to pattern your lives. Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. So the word of God and the examples of Paul, that's a great place to start this evening. Let's pray. Father, help us to look at the landscape of life and see who is for us and see who is against us. Help us to dedicate ourselves to your mission with our lives on this earth while we're here. And I pray you'll get the glory. Lord, if there's someone who's never trusted you as Lord and Savior, now is the acceptable time. You died so that they may live. Help us to help them to hear your word, that they may have faith and be saved. Lord, we love you and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen. Church and guests, Sunday is coming and I'm looking much forward to it. Brother Terry's small group will be released at 8 a.m. on Facebook, and then we will have a 9 o'clock and an 11 o'clock service, with the 9 a.m. being on Facebook Live. We can't wait to see you then. God bless you.